You wake up after a full 8 hours of sleep with a body that should be rested, yet you feel a heavy, draining fatigue. This exhaustion isn't coming from your muscles. It comes from a machine inside your head that refuses to power down. Your mind constantly spins narratives, churning out stories and running simulations without your permission. Typically, the machine operates in two modes: projecting a worst-case scenario about an imaginary future to maintain a state of panic, or dragging up a dead past to trigger lingering guilt. When these uncomfortable emotions bubble up, our instinct is to treat them as intruders. We view anxiety, sadness, and fear as hostile threats that must be actively fought off and destroyed. By declaring war on our own thoughts, we trap ourselves in an inescapable conflict. We are fighting an enemy that lives inside our own defenses, ensuring a battle we can never win. To escape this noise, we usually turn to rigid systems, forceful thought suppression, or strict meditation routines designed to quiet the mental chatter. But using the mind to fix the mind is like trying to smooth out water by hitting it with a flat iron. The tool itself creates the disturbance. Every time you actively try to block a thought, you pay attention to it. That resistance signals to your brain that the thought is important, which increases its volume and keeps it alive. The effort to control your mind provides the exact fuel that keeps your anxiety burning. To solve the mind problem, the modern sage Sri Bhagavat Aya insists we must split our experience into two distinct zones that operate by different rules. On the left is Agam, the fluid inner world of thoughts and emotions. This space is autonomous. You cannot command a feeling to stop any more than you can command the weather. Your internal states function independently. On the right is Puram, the outer, physical world of action and logic. Suffering happens when we cross the streams, applying the rigid rules of the outer world to the untamable inner world. Aya's solution is Purital, or deep understanding. It requires a shift in how we handle our internal state, moving from doing to seeing. When a wave of anger or sadness hits you, stop labeling it as your personal problem to fix. Step back and watch the emotion arise, observing it without interference. Mental peace has nothing to do with having zero thoughts. It is the realization that you are the sky, and the thoughts are just passing clouds. You don't need to fight the weather. The required response to this internal turbulence is saranagati, surrender. Surrender is an unconditional yes to whatever emotion is currently sitting in your chest. You allow it to be there without trying to push it out the door. When an emotion hits a wall of resistance, it bounces back and multiplies. When you accept it, the emotion loses its friction, burns through its own energy, and naturally dissolves. When you drop your mental defenses and grant your mind permission to be loud, the noise paradoxically fades into quiet. On this timeline of mental activity, you can see what happens the second you stop fighting your inner world. The nodes of the imagined past and fabricated future instantly collapse. Without those mental stories demanding your attention, consciousness has nowhere else to go. You are dropped into the absolute present moment. This state is known as Chama Iru, or just being. Just being does not mean sitting around in a state of apathy, and it is not an excuse for physical laziness. Because you are no longer burning mental energy on invisible battles, that focus is freed. You can pour your energy into the outer world, doing your job, taking care of your family, or just washing the dishes. Presence is the combination of an internal world at peace and an external world in motion. This reframes the spiritual journey. We are often told that reaching a higher state of consciousness takes decades of grueling isolation and punishing meditation routines. In Sri Bhagavat Aya's teaching, mukti arrives as an instantaneous shift in understanding, rather than a destination reached through decades of isolation. As Aya says, Puri talvantal prachana ili, if understanding comes, there is no problem. Your thoughts aren't broken, so there is nothing to fix. There is nowhere left to go and no internal enemy left to fight. Just be right now.